Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Maria Bickley, and you've come to see King Alfred Classical School's production of Henry V. We meet here at Conway First Baptist, and we've met here for many years. In fact, there are many homeschool groups that use this facility, and they've been so kind and generous. And tonight we have the pastor of Conway First Baptist here, and I would like to introduce him to you. Are you ready for this? Okay. And just because we're so grateful for them. You know, I've been to many churches in my life, and sometimes it's hard. People hold on to their facilities, you know, and they want to share, but it's difficult to share. We have ownership of our place, and they are so kind and open-handed and generous. It's just amazing to watch. It's been such a blessing for my daughter and for my family. So I would like to introduce Pastor Chuck of Conway First Baptist, so he can say hi to you, and you can see who he is.
I'll just do it right here. Welcome tonight. Let me just tell you something what you don't know about Henry V, because we've had a long association with King Alfred, and Maria and Julie actually invited me to be assistant director, creative director. So, in our first meeting in September, and they told me the play they're going to do, I'm like, that's great. I have this great idea. Let's exchange swords for lightsabers. Let's organize a little bit, and instead of having the English and the French, what if we changed it and we had the Jedi and the Sith Lords? I was quickly replaced by Noah and Levi. I was motivated back to being a pastor. We're so glad that we can be your partners as you are homeschooling your children. That is an amazing endeavor. We're former homeschoolers ourselves. And dads, if we're going to be honest, while we say we're homeschool families, moms carry much of the burden. And moms, you have done a great job this year. You kept your students in this environment in spite of COVID. You've maintained an environment for them, a teaching environment, and you deserve a round of applause for the hard work you've done. And I meant to do this last night and I forgot, but also Caleb, congratulations to him. If you get a chance, we're doing a graduation tomorrow night, but recognize him. He deserves a round of applause. He's graduating, and lightsaber with, Conway brings lightsaber and City Point Road, but I just in my mind that's how I see it. But we don't want to steal you away from your church families. I know many of you have church families. I pray that you are close to them and you're there worshiping regularly. But I want you to know, as Conway First Baptist Church, we are always welcoming and have open arms for you. If there's any way we can continue to encourage you and be a partner with you in raising your families, we're here for you. My door is always open. And if you don't have a church family, then consider Conway First Baptist Church. The pastor is a great guy. One last thing. As a dad, a homeschool dad, I had to be the heavy sometimes. And my job was to come in and say, do your math homework. Dad, I don't want to do it now. So I'm going to be the heavy tonight. Last night, some of you dads or moms forgot to turn off your phones. Turn off your phone, right? You have an Apple phone. It's so simple. You just turn it to the side. You pull the button down. You see the little red mark there. It means that alerts are off. Give your children, your students, your children's friends opportunities to have a great playtime. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you've been great, even though you fired me.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anyways, for tonight, yes, silence your phones. That would be very helpful, I think. And just to let you know, we have where the exits are, in case there's a fire, I guess, which I'm not planning on. So there's an exit back there and 2 exits over here. Also, the restrooms are located in the back over here. However, during the show, we have many quick changes and lots of things going on back here. So we ask that you, if you need to use the restroom, that you would exit out the back and go around the building over to where the playground side, if you see the playground, there's a doorway over there, and then you can come into the bathrooms there, only because it's very dark back there, and I have only 11 actors, and there are 48 parts. So do the math. So we happy few, we band of brothers. So that's basically where we're at. Now, last night, I didn't really prep the audience all that much, so I just wanted to prep you a little bit and just let you know that Henry V comes after a series of plays. There's Richard II, Henry IV, Part 1 and Part 2, ending with Henry V. So a little bit about Shakespeare writing about Henry V. In Henry IV, Part 1 and 2, Henry V is sort of a prodigal son. He's a wild guy, and he's hanging out with these guys in a tavern, Bardolph, Pistol, and Nym, and this big fat knight called Sir John Falstaff. Some of you know that Falstaff is a stock character in Shakespeare. By the time we get to Henry V, Henry has turned away from all of that. He's the prodigal now. He's gone back. He's taken the throne. And he's shunned all that. In fact, he's become more his heart gone to God and to do the right thing. And he shunned those lower life characters. So you're going to see those lower life characters, and I just wanted to help you a little bit. That's who they are. They're kind of, they're there, and Sir John Falstaff is very ill. He's close to death. So just to clue you in on what's happening, because it's coming from other plays that we haven't done. And this is, a little bit of a propaganda piece for Shakespeare, like a yay, England is great, and French, that kind of thing. So it's it's a little bit like that. Anyways, we really hope, we've worked very hard, and we hope that you enjoy the show. Another little tidbit, we're singing the Agincourt Carol. The Agincourt Carol is a very old song. It's written by Anonymous. He's very famous. But this song in particular was written just after the Battle of Agincourt to commemorate Henry's victory at Agincourt. And so it's old. It's like 600 years old. And we've decided to learn it and sing it for you tonight. So we hope that you enjoy that. We will have an intermission. It's 15 minutes, and then we'll get right back to it. And hopefully you'll find this exciting and wonderful and fabulous, or will cure your insomnia. I don't know. So I hope to see you at the end of the show, too. And, we only have a few people left at the end. So anyways, thank you for coming, and we're ready to start.
Monarchs to behold the swelling scene.
Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds,
should famine sword,
and fire. Crouch for employment.
But pardon, gentles all, the flat unreasoned spirits that hath dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object.
Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France?
Or may we cram within this wooden O the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt?
Oh, pardon, since the crooked figure may attest in little place a million, and let us, ciphers to this great account, on your imaginary forces work.
Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder.
Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts.
Into 1,000 parts divide one man, and make imaginary puissance.
Think when we talk of horses that you see them, printing their proud hooves to the receiving earth. For 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings. Carry them here, there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For with which supply, admit me, chorus to this history, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
But how, my lord, shall we resist it now? It must be thought upon, for if it passed against us, we lose the better half of our possession, for all the temporal lands which men devout by testament have given to the church were they stripped from us.
This would drink deep.
'Twould drink the cup and all.
But what prevention?
The king is full of grace and fair regard,
And a true lover of the holy church.
the courses of his youth promised it not. The breath no sooner left his father's body, but that his wildness, mortified in him, seemed to die too.
We are blessed in the change.
Hear him but reason in divinity, and all admiring with an inward wish. You would desire the king were made a prelate. Hear him debate of commonwealth affairs. You would say it hath been all in all his study. List his discourse of war, and you shall hear a fearful battle rendered you in music. Turn him to any cause of policy, the guardian knot of it he will unloose. Familiar as his garter, that when he speaks, the air a chartered libertine is still, and the mute wonder lurketh in men's ears, to steal his sweet and honeyed sentences.
The strawberry grows underneath the nettle, and wholesome berries thrive and ripen best, neighbored by fruits of better quality. And so the prince obscured his contemplation under the veil of wells, which no doubt grew like the summer grass, fastest by night, unseen, yet craftsman his faculty.
It must be so, for miracles are ceased, and we must needs, therefore, admit the means how things are perfected.
But, my good lord, how now for mitigation of this bill urged by the commons? Doth his majesty incline to it, or no?
He seems indifferent, or rather swaying more upon our part than cherishing the exhibitors against us. For I have made an offer to his majesty, as touching France, to give a greater sum than ever at one time the clergy yet did to his predecessors part withal.
How did this offer seem received, my lord?
With good acceptance of his majesty, save that there was not time enough yet to hear, as I perceived his grace would fain have done, the severals and unhidden passages of his true titles to some certain dukedoms, and generally to the crown and seat of France, derived from Edward, his great-grandfather.
What was the impediment that broke this off?
The French ambassador upon that instant craved audience, and the hour, I think, is come to give him hearing. Is it 4 o'clock?
It is.
Go in to know his embassy, which I could, with a ready guess, declare before the Frenchmen speak a word of it.
I'll wait upon you, and I long to hear it.
My my gracious Lord of Canterbury?
Not here in presence.
Send for him. Shall we call the ambassador, my liege? Not yet, my cousin. We would be resolved before we hear him of some things of weight that task our thoughts concerning us in France.
God and his angels guard your sacred throne and make you long become it.
Sure, we thank you. My learned lord, we pray you to proceed and justly and religiously unfold why the laws Salic that they have in France or should not bar us in our claim. And God forbid, my dear and faithful lord, that you should fashion rest or bow your reading. For God doth know how many now in health shall drop their blood in approbation of what your reverence shall incite us to. Therefore, take heed how you impugn our person, how you awake our sleeping sword of war. We charge you in the name of God, take heed, for never two such kingdoms did contend without much fall of blood. For we will hear, note, and believe in heart that what you speak is in your conscience washed as pure as sin with baptism.
Then hear me, gracious sovereign, and you peers who owe yourselves your lives and services to this imperial throne. There is no bar to make against your highness' claim to France, but this, which they produce from Pharamond, in terram Salicam mulieres ne sucedant. No woman shall succeed in Salic land. Salic land the French unjustly goes to be the realm of France, and Pharamond to be the founder of this law and female bar. Yet their own authors faithfully affirm that the land Salic is in Germany. Then doth it well appear the Salic law was not devised for the realm of France, nor did the French possess the Salic land. Besides, their writers say King Pepin, which deposed Childeric, did his heir general, being descendant of Blithild, who was the daughter to King Clothair, make a claim and title to the crown of France. Hugh Capet also, who usurped the crown to find his title with some shows of truth, though in pure truth it was corrupt and not, conveyed himself as the heir to the Lady Linga. So that, as clear as is the summer's sun, King Pepin's title and Hugh Capet's claim all appear to hold in right and title of the female. So do the kings of France, and to this day, howbeit they would hold up the Salic law to bar your highness claiming from the female, and rather choose to hide them in a net than amply to embar their crooked titles usurped from you and your progenitors.
May I with right and conscience make this claim?
Sin upon my head, Trent Sovereign, for in the book of Numbers it is writ, when the man dies, let the inheritance descend unto the daughter. Gracious Lord, stand for your own, unwind your bloody flag. Go, my dread lord, to your great-grandsire's tomb from whom you claim. Invoke his warlike spirit and your great-uncle's, Edward the Black Prince, who on the French ground played a tragedy, whilst his most mighty father on a hill stood smiling to behold his lion's whelp forge in blood of French nobility.
Awake remembrance of these valiant dead. You are their heir. You sit upon their throne. The blood and courage that renowned them runs in your veins, and my thrice puissant liege is in the very May morn of his youth, ripe for exploits and mighty enterprises.
Your brother kings and monarchs of the earth do all expect that you should rouse yourselves, as did the former lions of your blood.
They know your grace hath cause and means and might. So hath your highness. Never king of England had nobles richer and more loyal subjects, whose hearts have left their bodies here in England and lie pavilioned in the fields of France.
Oh, let their bodies fall, my dear liege, for with blood and sword and fire to win your right, and aid whereof we of the spirituality will raise your highness such a mighty sum, as never did the clergy yet did to your ancestors part withal.
We must not only arm to invade the French, but lay down our proportions to defend against the Scots, who will make road upon us with all advantages.
It follows then that the cat must stay at home, yet that is but a crush necessity. And since we have locked the safeguard necessaries in pretty traps to catch the petty thieves, while the armed hen fights abroad, the advised head must defend itself at home. For government high, low, and lower, put into parts, doth keep in one consent, congreeing in a full and natural close, like music.
Therefore to France, my liege, divide your happy England into four, whereof take you one quarter into France, and you withal shall make all galleys shake. If we with right such powers at home cannot defend our own doors from the dog, let us be worried, and our nation lose the name of hardiness and policy.
Call in the messengers sent from the Dauphin. Now are we well resolved, and by God's help and yours, the noble sinews of our power, France being ours, we'll bend it to our or break it all to pieces. Now are we well prepared to know the pleasure of our fair cousin Dauphin, for we hear your greeting is from him, not from the king.
May it please your majesty to give us leave freely to render what we have in charge. Oh, or shall we sparingly show you far off the Dauphin's meaning and our embassy?
We are no tyrant, but a Christian king, unto whose grace our passion is as subject as is our wretches fettered in our prisons. Therefore, with frank and with uncurbed plainness, tell us the Dauphin's mind.
Thus then in few. Your Highness, descending into France, to claim some certain dukedoms as the right of your great predecessor, King Edward III. In answer of which claim, the Prince our master says that you savour too much of your youth, and bids you be advised, there's naught in France that can be with a nimble galliard one. You cannot revel into dukedoms there. He therefore sends you meter for your spirit, this ton of treasure, and in lieu of this, desires that you let the dukedoms that you claim hear no more of you. This the Dauphin speaks.
What treasure, uncle?
Tennis balls, my liege.
We are glad the Dauphin is so pleasant with us. His present in your pains we thank you for. When we have matched our rackets to these balls, we will in France by God's grace play a set shall strike his father's crown into the hazard. Tell him he hath made a match with such a wrangler that all the courts of France will be disturbed with chases. And we understand him well, how he comes o'er us with our wilder days, not measuring what use we made of them. But tell the Dauphin, I will keep my state, be like a king, and show my sail of greatness when I do rouse me in my throne of France. For that I have laid by my majesty and plodded like a man for working days, but I will rise there with so full of glory that I will dazzle all the eyes of France, yea, strike the Dauphin blind to look on us. And tell the pleasant prince this mock of his hath turned his balls to gunstones, and his soul shall stand sore charged for the wasteful vengeance that shall fly with them. For many 1,000 widows shall this his mock out of their dear husbands, mock mothers from their sons, mock castles down, and some are yet ungotten and unborn that shall have cause to curse the Dauphin's scorn. But this lies all within the will of God, to whom I do appeal, and in whose name tell you the Dauphin I am coming on, to venge me as I may, and to put forth my rightful hand in a well-hallowed cause. So get you hence in peace, and tell the Dauphin his jest will save a butt of shallow wit, when thousands weep more than did laugh at it. Convey them with safe conduct. Fare you well.
This was a merry message.
We hope to make the sender blush at it. Therefore, my lords, omit no happy hour that may give furtherance to our expedition, for we have no north thought in us but France.
Now all the youth of England are on fire, and silken dalliance in the wardrobe lies.
Now thrive the armorers, and honor's thought reigns solely in the breast of every man.
They sell the pasture now to buy the horse. Following the mirror of all Christian kings.
With winged heels as English Mercuries.
Well met, Corporal Nim.
Good morrow, Lieutenant Bardolph. What, our ancient pistol and new friends yet?
For my part, I care not. I say little, but when time shall serve, there shall be smiles, but that shall be as it may. I dare not fight, but I will wink and hold out mine iron. 'Tis a simple one.
I will serve breakfast to make you friends. We'll be all three sworn brothers of France. Let it be so, Corporal Nim.
Faith, I will live so long as I may. That's certain of it. When I cannot live any longer, I will do as I may. That is my rest. That's the rendezvous of it.
It is certain, Corporal, that Eve's married to Nell quickly, and certainly she did you wrong, for your troth plight to her.
I cannot tell. Things must be as they may.
Here comes Legend Pistol and his wife. Good Corporal, be patient here. How now, my nose pistol? Ha!
Tyke, call'st thou me host? By this hand, I swear I scorn the term. Nor shall my Nell keep lodgers.
No, by my troth. Not long.
Ha! Oh.
Oh, well a day, lady, if ye be not you now.
Good lieutenant, good corporal, offer nothing here.
Bet the pish for thee, thou Iceland dog, thou prick-eared cur of Iceland.
Oh, good corporal, show thy valor, put up your sword.
Here, Shovel. I would have you soulless, egregious dog. Oh, viper vile, the soulless in thy most marvellous face, and in thy teeth, and in thy throat, and in thy hateful lungs, yea, in thy maw, petty and which is worse, within thy nasty mouth. I do retort the soulless in thy bowels. I am not Barbison. Yeah, you cannot conjure mine. I am an image to know, yeah, differently well. You go foul with my pistol, I will scour you with my rapier as I mind fair terms. You walk off, I prick your guts little in good terms, as I mind not the evil of it.
Oh, braggart vile and damned furious wight, the grave doth gape, and doting death is near. Therefore, exhale.
Hear me what I say. He that strikes the first stroke, I'll run him up to the hilts, as I am a soldier.
An oath of mickle might and fury shall abide. Give me thy fist, thy forfeit to me give. Thy spirits are most tall.
I will cut thy throat one time or other in fair terms, not the evil of it.
Couplea gauze, that is the word. I defy thee again. Oh, hound of Crete! Thinkest thou my spouse to get? I have, and I will hold a quantum quickly, for the only sheep, and Palka is enough to go to.
Mine host Pistol, you must come to your master and your hostess. He is very sick and would to bed. Faith, he is very ill.
By my troth, you'll yield the crow pudding one of these days. The king has killed his art. Good husband, come on presently.
Come, shall I make you two friends? We must have France together. Why the devil should we keep knives, cut one another's throats?
Let floods all's well, and fiends for food howl on.
You'll pay me the 8 shillings I won you at betting?
Vice is the slave that pies.
Thought now, I will have not the evil of it.
As manhood shall compound. Push home.
By this sword, he that makes the first thrust, I'll kill him. By this sword, I will.
Sword is an oath, and oaths must have their course.
Corporal, them and thou wilt be friends. Be friends. And thou wilt not, why then be enemies with me too. Prithee, put up.
A noble shalt thou have, and present pay, and liquor likewise will I give to thee. And friendship and brotherhood shall combine. I shall live by Nim, and Nim shall live by me. Is not this just? For I shall settle her beyond the camp, and profits will accrue. Therefore, give me thy hand.
I shall have my noble.
In cash, most justly pied.
Well then, not the evil of it.
As ever you came of women coming quickly to Sir John, sweet men, come to him.
The king hath run body him his own night, that's the even of it.
Nim, thou hast spoke the right. His heart is fracted and corroborate.
The king is a good king, but it must be as it might. He passes some illness and careers.
Let us condole the night. For lambkins, we will live.
The French, advised by good intelligence of this most dreadful preparation, shake in their fear and with pale policy seek to divert the English purposes. O England, model to thy inward greatness, like little body with a mighty heart.
What mightst thou do? What honor would thee do? Were all thy children kind and natural. But see, thy fault, France, hath in thee found out. A nest of hollow bosoms, which he fills with treacherous crowns, and 3 corrupted men. One Richard, Earl of Cambridge.
The second, Henry, Lord Scroop of Masham.
And the third, Sir Thomas Grey, Knight of Northumberland. Have for the guilt of France,
O guilt indeed,
confirmed conspiracy with fearful France, and by their hands disgrace of kings must die, and hell and treason hold their promises,
ere he take ship from France and in Southampton.
Linger your patience on, and will digest the abuse of time, force a play.
The sum is paid, the traitors are agreed,
And the scene is now transported, gentles, to Southampton. There is the playhouse now.
There must you sit,
And thence to France shall we convey you safe, charming the narrow seas to give you gentle pass. For, if we may, we'll not offend one stomach with our play.
By God, our grace is bold to trust these traitors.
They shall be apprehended by and by.
How smooth and even do they bear themselves, as if allegiance in their bosoms sat, crowned with faith and costed loyalty. But our grace hath note of all that they intend, of interception they dream not of.
Nay, but the man that was his bedfellow, whom he hath doled and cloyed with gracious favours, that he should for a foreign purse so sell his sovereign's life to death and treachery.
Now sits the wind fair, and we will aboard. My lord of Cambridge, and my kind lord of Masham, and you, my gentle knight, give me your thoughts. Think you not that the powers we bear with us will cut their passage through the force of France?
No doubt, my liege, if each man do his best.
I doubt not that, since we are well persuaded, we carry not a heart with us from hence, that grows not in a fair consent with ours.
Never was monarch better feared and loved than is your majesty.
True, those that were your father's enemies have steeped their galls in honey, and do serve you with heart correlate of duty and of zeal.
We judge no less. Uncle of Exeter, enlarge the man committed yesterday that railed against our person. We consider it was excess of wine that set him on, and on his more advice we pardon him.
That's mercy, but too much security. Let him be punished, sovereign, let example breed by his sufferance more of such a kind.
Oh, let us yet be merciful.
So may your highness, and yet punish too.
Sir, you show great mercy if you give him life after the taste of much correction.
Alas, your too much love and care of me are heavy orisons against this poor wretch. If little faults proceeding on distemper shall not be winked at, how shall we stretch our eye when capital crimes, chewed, swallowed, and digested, appear before us? We'll yet enlarge that man, though Cambridge, Scroop, and Grey, in their dear care and tender preservation of our person, would have him punished. And now to our French causes. Who are the late commissioners?
I wouldn't, my lord. Your highness bade me ask for it today.
So did you me, my liege.
And I, my royal sovereign.
Then Richard, Earl of Cambridge, there is yours. There yours, Lord Scroop of Masham. And Sir Knight, Thomas Grey, Knight of Northumberland, this same is yours. Read them, and know I know your worthiness. My Lord of Westmoreland and Uncle Exeter, we will aboard tonight. Why, how now, gentlemen? What see you in those papers that you lose so much complexion? Look you how they change, their cheeks are paper. Why, what read you there that have so cowarded and chased your blood out of our parents?
I do confess my fault, and do submit me to your highness' mercy.
To which we all appeal.
The mercy that was quick in us but late by your own counsel is suppressed and killed. You must not dare for shame to talk of mercy. See you, my princes and my noble peers, these English monsters. My lord of Cambridge here, you know how Abdallah was to accord to furnish him with all appurtenances belonging to his honor, and this man hath for a few light crowns lightly conspired to kill us here in Hampton, to the which this knight, no less for bounty bound to us than Cambridge's, hath likewise sworn. But oh, what shall I say to thee, Lord Scroop, thou cruel, ingrateful, savage, and inhuman creature, thou that didst bear to keep all my counsels, that knewest the very bottom of my soul, that almost might have coined me into gold, wouldst thou have practised on me for thy use? 'Tis so strange, that though the truth of it stands off as gross and as black and white, my eye will scarcely see it. Show men dutiful? Why, so didst thou. Seem they grave and learned? Why, so didst thou. Come they of noble family? Why, so didst thou. Seem they religious Why, so didst thou, or are they spare in diet, free from gross passion, or of mirth or anger, constant in spirit, not swerving with the blood, garnished and decked in modest compliment, such and so finely bolted didst thou seem? And thus thy fall hath left a kind of blot to mark the full front man, and best endued with some suspicion. I will weep for thee, for this revolt of thine, methinks, is like another fall of man. Their thoughts are open. Arrest them to the answer of the law, and God acquit them of their practices.
I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Richard, Earl of Cambridge. I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Henry, Lord Scrip of Masham. I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Thomas Gray, Knight of Northumberland.
Our purposes God justly hath discovered, and I repent my fault more than my death, which I beseech your highness to forgive, although my body pay the price of it.
For me, the gold of France did not seduce, though I did admit it as a motive, the sooner to effect what I intended. But God be thanked for prevention, which I in sufferance heartily will rejoice, beseeching God and you to pardon me.
Never did the faithful subject more rejoice at the discovery of most dangerous treason than I do at this hour overjoy myself. Prevented from a damned enterprise, my fault, though not my body, pardon, sovereign.
God quits you in his mercy. Hear your sentence. You have conspired against our royal person, joined with an enemy proclaimed, and from his coffers received the gold and earnest of our death. Touching our person seek we no revenge, but we our kingdom's safety must so tender, that to her laws we do deliver you. Get you therefore hence, poor miserable wretches, to your death. The taste whereof God of his mercy give you patience to endure, and true repentance of all your dear offences. Bear them hence. Now, lords, for France, the signs of war advance. No king of England, if not king of France.
Pray thee, any sweet husband, that may accompany thee to Staines.
No, for my manly heart doth earn. Bardolph, be blithe. Nym, rouse thy vaunting vines. Boy, bristle thy courage up. For Falstaff, he is dead, and we must earn therefore.
Whatever with him. Less made easy than ever nor an elf.
Nay, sure, he's not an elf. He's in Arthur's bosom, if ever a man went to Arthur's bosom. He made a finer end and went away on it than any Christian toil. He parted even between 12 and 1, even at the turning of the tide. For after I saw him fumble with the sheets and play with flowers and smile upon his fingers' end, I knew there was but one way. For his nose is as sharp as a pen, and he talked of green fields. How now, Sir John, quoth I, what man, be a good cheer? So he cried out, God, 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 3 or 4 times. Nor I to comfort him, bid him he should not think of God. I hope there was no need to trouble himself with such thoughts yet. So he bade me lay more cloths on his feet, and I put my hand into the bed and felt them, and they were as cold as any stone.
I saw ye cried at a sack.
Why, that he did.
And a woman.
Nay, that he did not.
Yes, that he did, and said that they were devils incarnate.
He can never abide incarnation. 'Twas a colour he never liked.
Do you not remember? He saw a flea stick upon Bardolph's nose and said there was a black cell burning in hell.
Well, the fool's gonna let me tame that fire. That's all the risk I got in his service.
Shall we, Shog? The king will be gone from Southampton.
Come, let's away. Look to my chattels and my movables. Let censors rule. Trust none, for oaths are straws, men's faiths are wafer cakes. And old fast is the only dog, my duck. Therefore, coveteux be thy counsellor. Go, clear thy crystals. Yoke fellows in arms, last to France.
Farewell, Lucius. What adieu.
Let our wife reappear. Keep close, I thee command.
Farewell. Adieu.
Thus comes the English with full power upon us, and more than it us carefully concerns, to answer early in our defences. It fits us then to be as provident as fear may teach us out of late examples left by the fatal and neglected English upon our fields.
My most redoubted father, 'tis most meet we arm us against the foe. Therefore I say 'tis meet that we all go forth to view the sick and feeble parts of France. Let us do it with no show of fear. No more than as the English were busied with their Whitsun Moor's dance. For, my good liege, they are so idly kinged. They're so fantastically born by a vain, giddy, shallow, humorous youth, that fear attends her not.
Oh, peace, Prince Dauphin. You are too much mistaken in this king. Question your grace, the late ambassadors, with what great state he heard their embassy, and you shall find his vanities forspent were but the outside of a Roman Brutus, covering discretion with a coat of folly, as gardeners do with ordure covers those roots that shall first spring and be most delicate.
Well, 'tis not so, my high lord constable. But though we think it so, it is no matter. In cases of defense, 'tis best to raise the enemy more mighty than he seems, so the proportions of defense are filled, which of a weak and niggardly projection doth like a miser spoil his coat with scanting a little cloth.
Seek we King Harry strong, and princes look you strongly armed to meet him. And he is bred out of that bloody strain that haunted us in our familiar past. Witness our too much memorable shame when Cressy battle fatally was struck, and all our princes captive by that name, that black name, Edward, the Black Prince of Wales. Wales, on his mountain sire, on mountain standing, saw his heroical seed, and smiled to see him mingle the work of nature and deface the patterns that by God and by the French fathers 20 years been made. This is the stem of that victorious stock, and let us fear the native mightiness and fate of him.
Ambassadors from Henri, King of England, to crave remittances to your majesty.
We will give them present audience. Go and bring them. We see this chase is hotly followed, friends.
Turn head and stop pursuit, for coward dogs will spend their mouths and what they seem to threaten runs far before them. Good, my liege, take up the English short and show them in what a monarchy you are the head. Self-love, my liege, is not so vile a sin as self-neglecting.
From our brother of England?
From him, and thus he greets your majesty. He wills you in the name of God Almighty that you divest yourselves and lay apart the borrowed glories that by gifts of heaven, by law of nature and of nations, longs to him and his heirs, namely the crown, and all white stretches honours that pertain unto the crown of France. That you may know 'tis no sinister, nor no awkward claim picked from the wormholes of long vanished days, nor from oblivion raked. He sends you this most memorable line. And when you overlook this pedigree, and when you find him most evenly derived from his most famed of famous ancestors, Edward III, he bids you then resign your crown and kingdom.
Or else what follows?
Bloody constraint. For if you hide the crown even in your heart, there will he rake for it. Therefore in fierce tempest is he coming, and thunder and an earthquake like a Jove, that if requiring fail, he will compel, and bids you in the bowels of the Lord, deliver up your crown, and to take mercy on the poor souls, of whom this hungry war opened its vasty jaws, on your head, turning the widow's tears, the orphan's cries, the dead men's blood, the bereaved maiden's groans, for husbands, fathers, and betrothed lovers that should be swallowed in this controversy. This is his claim, his threatening, and my message. Unless the dolphin be in presence here, to whom expressly I have been greeting to.
For us, we will consider of this further. Tomorrow shall you bear our full intent back to our brother of England.
As for the Dauphin, I stand here for him. What to him from England?
Scorn, defiance, slight regard, and contempt, and anything that may not misbecome the mighty Cinder doth he prize you at. Thus says my king. And if your father highness do not grant of all demands at large, sweeten the bitter mock you sent his majesty. He'll call you for so hot an answer of it that the caves and roomy votaries of France shall chide at your trespassing, and return your mock and second accent of his ordinance.
Say, that if my father render fair return, it is against my will, for I want nothing but odds with England. And to that end, as matching to his use and vanity, I did present him with the Paris bulls.
He'll make your Paris Louvier shake for it, and be assured you'll find a difference as we his subject have in wonder found. Between his greener days and these he masters now. Now he wastes time to the utmost grain. That you shall find in your own losses, if he stay here in France.
Tomorrow shall you know our mind at full.
Dispatch it with all speed, lest our king come here himself and question our delay, for he is footed in this land already.
A night is but small breath and little pause to answer matters of this consequence.
Thus with imagined wings our swift scene flies, in motion of no less celerity than that of thought.
Suppose that you have seen the well-appointed king at Dover Pier embark his royalty and his brave fleet, with silken streamers the young Phoebus fanning.
Play with your fancies, and in them behold, upon the hempen tackle, ship boys climbing.
Hear the shrill whistle which doth order give to sounds confused. Behold the threatened sails, borne with the invisible and creeping wind, draw the huge bottoms through the furrowed seas, breasting the lofty surge.
Oh, do but think you stand upon the rivage, and behold, a city on the inconstant billows dancing.
For so appears this fleet majestical, holding due course to Harfleur.
Follow, follow. Grapple your minds to the sternage of this navy.
And leave your England as dead midnight still, guarded with grandsires, babies, and old women, either past or not arrived to pith and puissance. For who is he whose chin is but enriched with one appearing hair, who will not follow these culled and choice-drawn cavaliers to France?
Work your thoughts, and therein see a siege.
Behold the ordnance on their carriages, with fatal mouths gaping on girded Harfleur. Suppose the ambassador from the French comes back, tells Harry that the king doth offer him Catherine his daughter, and with her to dowry some petty and unprofitable dukedoms.
The offer likes not, and the nimble gunner with linstock now the devilish cannon touches.
And down goes all the
Once more into the breach, dear friends! Once more, or close the wall up with our English dead! In peace, there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger, stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage. Then lend the eye a terrible aspect. Let it pry through the portage of the head like the brass cannon. Let the brow o'erwhelm it. Now set the teeth and stretch the nostril wide. Hold hard the breath and bend up every spirit to its full height. On, you noblest English, whose blood is fed from fathers of war-proof, fathers that, like so many Alexanders, have in these parts from morn till evenford, and sheathed their swords for lack of argument. Dishonor not your mothers. Now attest that those whom you called fathers did beget you. Be copy now to men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you, good yeomen, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the metal of your pasture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not, since there's none of you so mean and base that hath not noble luster in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry, God for Harry! God for Harry! England!
for humours do abound. Knocks go and come, God's vassals drop and die. And sword and shield, in bloody field, doth win immortal fine.
When I run an alehouse in London, I give all my fame for pot of ale and safety.
And I, if wishes would prevail with me, my purpose should not fail with me, but either would I.
But do the bleacher dogs avaunt your cullions?
Be merciful, great Duke, to men of mould. Beat thy rage. Good Balcom, beat thy rage. Beat thy rage, great Duke. So let these reach up.
Please be good in it. You ought to went by.
Okay.
As young as I am, I've observed these three swashers. I am boy to all them three, but all they three, though they would serve me, cannot be man to me. For indeed, three such antics do not amount to a man. For Bardolph, he is white-livered and red-faced. By the means whereof, he faces it out, but fights not. For Pistol, he hath a killing tongue and a quiet sword. By the means whereof, he breaks words and keeps old weapons. For Nymph, he hath never broke any man's head but his own, and that was against a post when he was drunk. He would steal anything and call it purchase. Bardolph stole a loop case, bore it 12 leagues, and sold it for 3 halfpence. Nym and Bardolph are sworn brothers in filching, and in Calais they stole a fire shovel. They would ask me as familiar with men's pockets as the gloves of their handkerchiefs. I must leave them and seek some better service.
Captain Swallow, you must come presently to the mines. The Duke of Gloucester will speak with you.
To the mines? Tell the Duke it is not so good to come to the mines. For the mines is not according to the disciplines of the war. The concavities of it is not sufficient. The adversary, you may discuss him to the Duke, look you, is digged himself 4 yards under the countermines. I think they will blow up all if there's not better directions.
The Duke of Gloucester, to whom the order of the siege is given, is directed by an Irishman, a very valiant gentleman in faith.
Is it Captain McMorris, is it not?
I think it be.
He is a fool as in the world. He has no more directions in the true disciplines of the wars, look you, of the Roman wars, than is a puppy dog.
Why, here he comes, and the Scots captain, Captain Jamie, with him.
Captain Jamie is a marvelous, valorous gentleman, that is certain. He will maintain his argument as well as any military man in the world in the matters of the Prestine wars of the Romans.
Say good day, Captain Willen.
Good day to your worship, good Captain James.
How now, Captain McMorris? Have you quit the mines? Have the pioneers given over?
Oh, 'tis ill done. The trumpets sound the retreat. By my hand, I swear in my father's soul, the work is ill done. I would have blown up the old town in an hour. Oh, 'tis ill done. By my hand, 'tis ill done.
Captain McMorris, I beseech you, will you vouchsafe me, look you, a few disputations, partly touching or concerning the disciplines of the war, the Roman wars, in a way of argument, look you, and friendly communication, partly to satisfy my opinion, and partly for the satisfaction, look you, of my mind, as touching the direction of military discipline. That is the point.
It will be very good faith, good captains back, and I shall quit you with good leave, as on big occasions, as the marry.
It is no time to discourse. The trumpet calls us to the breach, and we stand here, do nothing. Oh, 'tis shame, by my hand, 'tis shame to stand still, by my hand. And there is throats to be cut, and works to be done, and there is nothing done. So save me, la.
By the mess early eyes might take themselves to slumber, or the good service, or lick the groundsfeet, or go to death, not made to relish as may. That shall I surely do. That is the breath of the long. Marry, I would fill my hands of questions with you twice.
Captain McMorris, I think under your correction there is not many of your nation.
Of my nation? What is my nation? Who talks of my nation?
Look you, if you take the matter that it is otherwise meant, Captain McMorris, peradventure I think you do not use me with that affability as you ought to in discretion use me, being as good as man as yourself, both in the disciplines of the war, and in the derivation of my birth, and in other particularities.
I know you so good a man as myself, so save me. I'll cut off your head.
Gentlemen, both, you mistake each other.
Ah, that's a foul fault.
The town shall depart.
Captain Nicamore, as if when there's more better opportunity be required, I will be so bold as to say that I know the disciplines of the war, and that is an end.
How yet resolves the governor of the town? This is the latest parle we will admit. Therefore, to our best mercy give yourselves, or like to men proud of destruction, defy us to our worst. For as I am a soldier, a name that in my thoughts becomes me best, if I begin the battery once again, I will not leave the half-achieved half-law, till in her ashes she lie buried. The gates of mercy shall be all shut up, and the fleshed soldier, rough and hard of heart, in liberty of bloody hand shall range with conscience wide as hell, mowing like grass your fresh fair virgins and your flowering infants. Therefore, you men of Half-Law, take pity of your town and of your people, whilst yet my soldiers are in my command. If not, why in a moment look to see the blind and bloody soldier with foul hand desire the locks of your shrill shrieking daughters, your fathers taken by the silver beards and their most reverend heads dashed to the walls, your naked infants spitted upon pikes, whilst the mad mothers with their howls confused do break the clouds, as did the wives of Jury at Herod's bloody hunting slaughtermen. What say you? Will you yield and this avoid, or guilty in defense be thus destroyed?
The reform of whom so cause we entreated returns us that his powers are not yet so ready to raise so great a siege. Therefore, great king, we offer our town and lives to thy soft mercy. Enter our gates, dispose of us and ours, for we no longer are defensible.
Open your gates. Come, Uncle Exeter. Go you and enter Half-Law. There remain and fortified strongly against the French. Use mercy to them all for us, dear uncle. The winter coming on and sickness growing upon our soldiers, we will retire to Calais. Tonight in Half-Law will we be your guest. Tomorrow for the march are we addressed.
Je pense qu'ils sont appelés de fingers. Oui, de fingers.
Les mains, the hand. Les doigts, les fingers.
Je pense que je suis les bonnes, Nicolas. Je regarde les deux, m'entends les 8 mots. Comment appelez-vous les ongles?
Les ongles? Nous les appelons des nails.
Des nails. Écoutez, dites-moi si je parle bien. The hand, the finger et the nails.
C'est bien dit, madame. Il est pour bon anglais.
Et dites-moi le nez pour le bas.
The arm, madame.
Et le coude?
The elbow.
The elbow. Écoutez, je me fais la répétition de tous les mots que vous m'avez appris dès à présent.
Il est trop difficile, madame, comme je pense.
Excusez-moi, Alice. Écoutez. The hand, the finger, the nails, the arm, the elbow.
The elbow, madame.
Signe 2, je m'en oublie. The elbow. Comment appelez-vous les côtes?
The neck, madame.
The neck. Et les mentons?
The chin.
The chin. L'école d'Inique, les méthodes d'Itine.
Oui, ça votre honneur, en vérité, vous prononcez les mots aussi droit qu'il est natif d'Angleterre.
Je n'ai du pas d'apprendre, par la grâce de Dieu, et un peu de temps.
N'avez-vous pas déjà oublié ce que je vous enseignais?
Non, écoutez, je resterai à vous promptement. The hands, the fingers, the miles.
The nails, madame.
The nails, madame. The arm, the elbow.
Ça votre honneur, the elbow.
Ainsi dis-je, the elbow. The neck et the chin. Oh, comment appelez-vous les pieds?
Le foot, madame.
Les foot. Néanmoins, je répéterai une autre fois mon leçon ensemble. The hands, the fingers, the miles, the arm, the elbow, the neck, the chin et the foot.
Excellent, madame.
C'est assez pour une fois. Allez, nous dîner.
"'Tis certain he has passed the river Somme."
And if it be not fought with all, my lord, let us not live in France. Let us quit all and give our vineyards to the barbarous people.
No minst. Monte Maui. If they march along and fight we soul, but I will sell my dukedom, Dubai et Saberi, and the dirty farmers that nook short an Isle of Albion.
De you de Batil, where have they this metal? Is not their climate foggy, raw, and dull, on whom, as in despite, the sun looks pale, killing their fruit with fronds? Oh, for honor of our land, let us not hang like roping icicles upon the houses thatch, was a more frosty people to the drops of gallant youth in our rich fields.
By faith and honor, our madams mock at us, and plainly say that our metal is bright out.
They beat us to the English dancing schools and teach us La Volta's eye and sweet Corantos, saying our grace is only in our ills, and that we are most lofty runaways.
"Where is Monsieur the Herald? Speed him hence. Let him greet England with our sharp defiance. Up, princes all, and with spirit of honor and sharper than your swords, hardy to the field. Charles de Lebref, High Constable of France, you, Dukes of Orleans, of Bourbon and of Berry, Alcelon, Brabant, Ban, Burgundy, High Dukes, great princes, barons, lords, and knights, for your great seats now quit you of great shames. Bah, hairy England, that sweeps through our field with pennons painted in the blood of our fleur. Go down upon him, you have power enough, and into a captive chariot, into inn, bring him our prisoner!
This becomes a great. Sorry am I, his numbers are so few, his soldiers so sick and famished in their march. For I am sure, when he shall see our army, he'll drop his heart into the sink of fear, and for achievement offer us his ransom.
Therefore, Lord Constable, hasten Montjoy, and let him say to England that we send to ask what willing ransom will he give. Prince Dauphin, you shall remain with us in ruin.
Not so, I do beseech your majesty.
Be patient, Prince Dauphin. You shall remain with us. Now forth, Lord Constable, and princes all, and quickly bring us word of England's fall.
you from the bridge.
Aye, and so please you, there's very excellent services committed at the bridge.
Is the Duke of Exeter safe?
The Duke of Exeter is as magnanimous a man as Agamemnon, and a man that I love and I honor with my soul and my heart and my duty and my life and my living and my utmost power. He's not, God be praised, any hurt in the world, but keeps the bridge most valiantly with excellent discipline. There is an ancient lieutenant there at the bridge. I think he's as valiant a man as Mark Antony, and he's a man of no estimation in the world, but I did see him do as gallant service.
What do you call him?
Ancient Pistol is he called.
I know him not.
Here is the man.
Captain, I thee beseech to do me favours. The Duke of Exeter doth love thee well.
Aye, and God be praised, I have merited some love at his hands.
Aye, Bardolph, a soldier firm and sound of art, of buxom valour, oft by cruel fate and giddy fortune's furious fickle wheel, that goddess blind that stands upon the rolling restless stone.
By the patience, Ancient Pistol, Fortune is painted blind with a muffler for her eyes to signify to you that Fortune is blind. And she is painted also with a wheel to signify to you, which is the moral of it, that she's turning in inconstant and mutability and variation. And her foot, look you, is fixed upon a spherical stone which rolls and rolls and rolls. In good truth, the poet makes a most excellent description of it. Fortune is an excellent moral.
Fortune is Bardolph's foe, and frowns on him, for he hath stolen a pax. An egged must he be, a damned death. Let gallows gape for dog, let men go free, and let not imp his windpipe suffocate. But the Duke hath given the doom of death for pax a little price. Therefore, speak, Captain, the Duke will hear thy voice. Let not Bardolph's vital thread be cut with edge of penny cord and vile reproach. Speak, Captain, for his life, and I will thee requite.
Ancient Pistol, I do partly understand your meaning.
Well, then rejoice at it, fool.
Why, certainly, Ancient, it is not a thing to rejoice at. For, look you, if he were my own brother, I would desire the Duke to use his good pleasure and to put him to execution. For discipline ought to be used.
Die, and be damned.
Very good.
Why, this is an errant counterfeit rascal. I remember him now. A bard, a cutpurse.
I assure you he enters as brave words at the bridge as you shall see in a summer's day. But 'tis well, 'tis very well, what he spoke to me. 'Tis well. I warrant you in time is...
Why, 'tis a gull, a fool, a rogue, that now and then goes to the wars to grace himself at his return into London under the form of a soldier. And such fellows are perfect in the great commander's names, and they will learn you by rote where services were done. At such and such a sconce, at such a breach, at such a convoy, who came off bravely, who was shot, who disgraced what terms the enemy stood on, and this they called perfect in the phrase of war, which they trick up with new-tuned oaths, and with the beard of the journalist cut, and a horrid suit of the camp, which among foaming bottles and ale-washed wits is wonderful to be thought on. But you must learn to know such slanders of the age, or else you may be marvelously mistook.
I tell you what, Captain Gower, I do perceive that he is not the man he would gladly make show the world he is. If I find a hole in his coat, I will tell him my mind. Hark you, here comes the king. God bless your majesty.
How now, Llewellyn? Camest thou from the bridge?
Aye, so please your majesty, the Duke of Exeter is master of the bridge. The bridge is run off, look you, and those most gallant and brave passages. The adversary was have possession of the bridge, but it is forced to retire. And the Duke of Exeter is master of the bridge. Huzzah!
What men have you lost, Llewellyn?
The perdition of the adversary has been very great, reasonably great. Merely for my own part, the Duke has not lost never a man, but one that is like to be executed for robbing a church. One Bardolph, if your majesty know the man. His face is all web pulls and box and knobs and flames of fire, and his lips blows at his nose, and it's like a coal of fire, sometimes red and sometimes blue, but his nose is executed, and his fire's out.
We would have all such offenders so cut off, and we give express charge that in our marches through the country there be nothing compelled from the villages, nothing taken but paid for. None of the French upbraided or abused in disdainful language, for when lenity and cruelty play for a kingdom, the gentlest gamester is the soonest winner.
You know me by my habit.
Well then I know thee. What shall I know of thee?
My master's mind.
Unfold it.
Thus says my king. Says thou to Henri, king of England, though we seem dead, we did but sleep. Now we speak upon our cue, and our voice is imperial. England shall repent of his folly, see his weakness, and admire our sufferance. Bid him therefore consider his ransom, which must proportion the losses we have borne, the subjects we have lost, and the disgrace we have digested. For our losses his exchequer is too poor. For the infusion of our blood, the muster of his kingdom too faint a number, and for our disgrace, his own person kneeling at our feet, but a weak and worthless sufferance. To this a defiance, until it for conclusion yet betrayed his followers, whose condemnation is pronounced. So much my king and master, so much my office.
What is thy name? I know thy quality.
Montjoy.
Thou dost thy office fairly. Turn thee back and tell thy king, I do not seek him now, but could be willing to march on to Calais without impeachment. For, to say the sooth, though 'tis no wisdom to confess so much unto an enemy of craft and vantage, my people are with sickness much enfeebled, my numbers lessened, and those few I have almost no better than so many French, who, when they were in health, I tell thee, herald, I thought upon one pair of English legs did march 3 Frenchmen. Yet forgive me, God, that I do brag thus. This year of France hath blown that vice in me. I must repent. Go therefore, tell thy master, here I am. My ransom is this frail and worthless trunk, my army but a weak and sickly guard. Yet tell him we will come on, though France himself and such another neighbor stand in our way. Go bid thy master well advise himself. If we may pass, we will. If we be hindered, we shall your tawny ground with your red blood discolour. And so, Montjoy, fare you well. The sum of all our answer is but this. We would not seek a battle as we are. Nor as we are, we say we will not shun it. So tell your master.
I shall deliver so. Thanks to your highness.
I hope they will not come upon us now.
We are in God's hand, brother, not in theirs. March to the bridge. It now draws toward night. Beyond the river we'll encamp ourselves, and on tomorrow bid them march away.
Creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. From camp to camp, through the foul womb of night, the hum of either army silly sounds.
That the fixed sentinels almost receive the secret whispers of each other's watch. Fire
Answers fire.
And through their paly flames, each battle sees the other's umbered face.
Steed threatens steed in high and boastful neighs, piercing the night's dull ear.
And from the tents, the armorers accomplishing the night, with busy hammers closing rivets up, give dreadful note of preparation.
I have the best armor in the world. But I would it were morning.
You have an excellent armor, but let my horse have his do.
It is the best horse of Europe.
Will it never all be morning?
My lord Orleans and my high lord constable, you talk of horse and armor.
Europe is well provided of both, as any prince in the world.
What a long night is this. I will not change my horse for any that treads on but 4 pastures. Say ha, he bounces the earth as if his entrails were hairs. Le cheval volant, the Pegasus, qui laisse non est de fou. When I bestride him, I soar. I am a hawk. He trots the air. The earth sings when he touches it. The basest horn of his hoof is more musical than the pipe of Hermes.
He's of the color of the nutmeg.
And the heat of the ginger. He is a beast for Perseus. He is pure air and fire, and the dual elements of earth and water are never found in him, but only in patient stillness when his rider mounts him. He is indeed a horse, and all other jades you may call beasts.
Indeed, my lord, it is a most absolute and excellent horse.
He is the prince of Parflays. His neigh is the biting of a monarch, and his countenance enforces homage.
No more, cousin.
Ah, nay, the man hath no wits that cannot, from the lodging of the lark to the rising of the lamb, pour forth deserved praise on my Parflay. It is a theme as fluent as the sea, turns sands into eloquent tongues, and my horse is argument for them all. 'Tis a subject for a sovereign to reason on, and a sovereign to ride on. I once wrote a sonnet in his praise, and began thus. Wonder of nature!
Mistress.
Well, did the say imitates that which I had wrote for my corsair? I would prefer my horse to my mistress.
Oh.
My Lord Constable, the armor that I saw in your tent tonight, were those stars or suns upon it?
Stars, my lord.
Some of them will fall tomorrow, I hope.
And yet my sky shall not want.
That may be, for you wear so many superfluously, to a more honors that some were away.
Even as your horse bears your praises, who had taught us well with some of your brags dismounted.
Would I were able to load him with his deserts. But it will never be morning. Tomorrow I will trot a mile, and my way shall be paved with English faces.
I would not say so, for fear I should be faced out of my way. But I would it were morning, for I'd fain be about the ears of the English.
Who will go to Azard with me for 20 prisoners?
You must first go yourself to Azard, ere you have them.
'Tis midnight. I'll go on myself.
The Dauphin longs for morning.
He longs to eat the English.
I think he will eat all that he kills.
He is simply the most active gentleman of France.
Doing is activity, and he will still be doing.
He never did arm to die out of.
Nor will he do none tomorrow. He'll keep that good name still.
I know him to be valiant.
I was told that by one who knows him better than you.
What's he?
Marry, sir, he told me so himself, and said he cared not who knew it.
He needs not. It is no Eden virtue in him.
Oh, by my faith, sir, but it is. Never anybody saw it, but 'tis lackey. 'Tis a hooded valley. When it appears, it will bait.
Il will never said well.
I'll cap that proverb with, there is flattery in friendship.
And I will take that up with, give the devil his due.
Well placed. There stands your friend for the devil.
My lord, I constable, the English lie within 1,500 paces of your tents.
Who hath measured the ground?
The Lord Grand Pré.
Ah, a most valiant and expert gentleman. But I would it were morning. Alas, poor Harry of England. He longs not for the dawning as we do.
What a wretched and peevish fellow is this King of England, to mope with his fat-brained followers so far out of his knowledge.
If the English had any apprehension, they would run away.
That's a lack. But if Sir Eds had any intellectual armor, they can never wear such heavy headpieces.
That island of England breeds very valiant creatures. Their mastiffs are of unmatchable courage.
Foolish curs that run weaking into the mouth of a Russian bear and have their heads crushed like rotten apples. You may as well say that a valiant flea that there ate his breakfast on the lip of a lion.
Just. Then, tomorrow, shall we give them great meals of beef and iron and steel. They will eat like wolves and fight like devils.
Aye, but these English are shrewdly out of beef.
Then shall we find tomorrow that they have only stomachs to eat and none to fight. Now is it time to arm. Come, show me about it.
It is now 2 o'clock, but let me see. By 10, we shall have each 100 Englishmen.
The country cocks do crow, the clocks do toll, and the third hour of drowsy morning name. Proud of their numbers and secure in soul, the confident and over-lusty French do the low
celebrated English play at dice, and chide the cripple, tardy-gated knight, who, like a foul and ugly witch, doth limp so tediously away.
The poor condemned English, like sacrifices, by their watchful fire sit patiently and inly ruminate the morning's danger, their gestures sad, investing their lank lean cheeks in war-worn coats, presenteth unto them the gazing moon so many horrid ghosts.
Oh, now who will behold the royal captain of this ruined band, walking from watch to watch, from tent to tent? Let him cry,
Praise and glory on his head.
for forth he goes and visits all his host, bids them good morrow with a modest smile.
And calls them brothers.
Friends,
Countrymen.
Upon his royal face there is no note how dread an army hath enrounded him, that every wretch pining and pale before him, beholding him, plucks comfort from his looks.
A largesse universal like the sun, his liberal eye doth give to everyone, thawing cold fear that mean and gentle all behold, as may unworthiness define, a little touch of Harry in the night.
Exeter, 'tis true we are in great danger. The greater, therefore, should our courage be. A good morrow, old Sir Thomas Eppingham. A good soft pillow for that good white head were better than a churlish turf of France.
Not so, my liege. This lodging likes me better, since I may say, now lie I like a king.
Lend me thy cloak, Sir Thomas. Brothers both, commend me to the princes in our camp. Do my good morrow to them, and anon desire them all to my pavilion.
We shall, my liege.
Shall I attend your grace?
No, my good knights, go with my brothers to my lords of England. I and my bosom must debate a while, and then I would no other company.
The Lord in heaven bless thee, noble Harry.
Hold heart, thou speakest cheerfully.
What? We've lost.
Friends.
Discuss unto me. Art thou officer, or art thou base, common, and popular?
I am a gentleman of a company, even so, what are you?
As good a gentleman as the emperor.
Then you are better than the king.
Oh, the king's a bowcock, an art of gold, a light of life, an imp of fine, of parents good, and fist most valiant. I kissed his dirty shoe, and from heartstring I love the lovely bully. What is thy name?
Harry, Leroy.
Leroy. Leroy? Leroy. Leroy! That's a Cornish name. Art thou of Cornish crew?
No, I am a Welshman.
Knowest thou Llewellyn?
Yes.
Ha! Tell him I'll knock his leek about his pate upon St. Darby's day.
Do not you wear your dagger in your cap that day, lest he knock that about yours.
Art thou his friend?
And his kinsman too.
Oh. My name is Pistol Cold.
It sorts well with your fierceness.
Captain Llewellyn.
So by my word speak fewer. It is the greatest admiration in the universal world when the true and ancient laws and prerogatives is not kept. If you would take the pains but to examine the wars of Pompey the Great, I warrant you shall find that there is no tittle-tattle nor pibble-babble in Pompey's camp.
Why, the enemy is loud, you hear him all night.
Why, if the enemy is a fool and a plating coxcomb, is it meet, think you, that we should also be a fool and a plating coxcomb in our own conscience now?
I will speak lower.
I pray you and beseech you that you will.
Though it appear a little out of fashion, there is much care and valour in this Welshman.
Brother John Bates, is not it the morning which breaks yonder?
I think it be, but we have no great cause to desire the approach of day.
We see yonder the beginning of the day, but I fear we shall never see the end of it. Who goes there?
A friend.
Under what captain serve you?
Under Sir Thomas Eppingham.
A good old commander, a most kind gentleman. I pray you what thinks he of our estate?
Even as men racked upon a sand that looked to be washed off the next tide.
He hath not told his thought to the king.
No, nor is it meet he should. For though I speak it to you, I think the king is but a man as I am. The violet smells to him as it doth to me. His ceremonies laid by, in his nakedness he appears but a man. Therefore, when he sees reasons of fears as we do, his fears out of doubt be of the same relish as ours are. Yet in reason no man should possess him with any appearance of fear, lest he by showing it should dishearten his army.
He may show it our courage he will, but I believe as cold a knight as 'tis, he could wish himself in Thames up to the neck, and I would he were, and I by him, at all adventures, so he would quit here.
By my troth, I will speak my conscience of the king. I think he would not wish himself anywhere but where he is.
Then I would he were here alone, so should he be sure to be ransomed, and many a poor man's life saved.
I dare say you love him not so ill as to wish him here alone. Methinks I could not die anywhere so contented as in the king's company, his cause being just and his quarrel honourable.
Why, that's more than we know. Aye, and more than we should seek after, for we know enough if we know we are the king's subjects. If his cause be wrong, our obedience to the king wipes the crime of it out of us.
But if his cause be not good, the king himself hath every reckoning to make, when all those legs and arms and heads chopped off in battle shall join together at the latter day and cry, oh, we died at such a place. Some swearing, some crying for a surgeon, some upon debts they owe, some upon children rawly left, some upon wives left poor behind them. I'm afeard there are few that die well that die in battle. Now if these men do not die well, it will be a black matter for the king that led them to it, who to disobey were against all proportion of subjection.
So that if a son by his father sent about merchandise to sinfully miscarry upon the sea, the imputation of his wickedness by your rules should be imposed upon his father that sent him. Or if a servant under his master's command transporting a sum of money be assailed by robbers and die in many irreconciled iniquities, you may call the business of the master the author of the servant's damnation, but this is not so. The king is not bound to answer the particular endings of his soldiers, the father of his son, nor the master of his servant, for they purpose not their deaths when they purpose their services. Besides, there is no king be his cause never so spotless, can try it out with all unspotted soldiers. Some peradventure have on them the guilt of murder, some of beguiling virgins, some making the wars their bulwark that have before gored the gentle bosom of peace with pillage and robbery. Now, if these men can outrun native punishment, though they can outstrip men, they have no wings to fly from God. War is his beetle, war is his vengeance. No more is the king guilty of their damnation than he was before guilty of their impieties. Every subject's duty is the king's, but every subject's soul is his own. Therefore, should every soldier in the wars do as every sick man in his bed, wash every mote out of his conscience, and dying so, death is to him advantage, or not dying, the time was blessedly lost, wherein such preparation was gained.
'Tis certain every man that dies ill that is upon his own head, the king is not to answer it.
I do not desire the king should answer for me, and yet I desire to fight for him lustily.
I myself heard the king say he would not be ransomed.
Oh, he said that to make us fight cheerfully. When our throats are cut, he may be ransomed and we ne'er the wiser.
If I live to see it, I will never trust his word after.
You pay him then. That's a perilous shot out of an elder gun that a poor and private displeasurer can do against a monarch. You may as well go about to turn the sun to ice with fanning in his face with a peacock's feather. Come, you'll never trust his word after. It is a foolish saying.
Your reproof is something too round. I should be angry with you if the time were convenient.
Be friends, you English fools, be friends. We have French quarrels enough, if you could tell how to reckon.
Upon the king, let us our lives, our souls, our debts, our careful wives, our children, and our sins lay on the king. We must bear all, oh, hard condition, twin born with greatness. What infinite heart's ease must kings neglect that private men enjoy? And what of kings that privates have not too? Save ceremony, save general ceremony. And what art thou, thou idle ceremony? Art thou aught else but place, degree, and form, creating awe and fear in other men, wherein thou art less happy being feared than they in fearing? Oh, be sick, great greatness, and bid thy ceremony give thee cure. Thinkest thou the fiery fever will go out with titles, blown from adulation? Will it give place to flexure and low bending? Canst thou, when thou commandst the beggar's knee, command the health of it? No, thou proud dream, that playest so subtly with a king's repose. I am a king that find thee, and I know 'tis not the balm, the scepter, and the bowl, the sword, the mace, the crown imperial, the throne he sits upon, nor the tide of pomp that beats upon the high shore of this world. No, not all these thrice gorgeous ceremony, not all these laid in bed majestical, can sleep so soundly as the wretched slave, who like a lackey from the rise to set sweats in the eye of Phoebus, and all night sleeps in Elysium. Next day after dawn doth rise and help Hyperion to his horse, and follows so the ever-running year with profitable labor to his grave. And but for ceremony, such a wretch, winding up days with toil and nights with sleep, had the forehand advantage of a king.
My lord, your nobles jealous of your absence seek for your camp to find you.
Good old knight, collect them all together at my tent. I'll be before thee.
I shall do it, my lord.
O God of battles, steel my soldiers' hearts, possess them not with fear. Take from them now the sense of reckoning, or the opposed numbers pluck their hearts from them. Not today, O Lord, oh, not today. Think not upon the fault my father made in compassing the crown. I, Richard's body, have interred new, and on it have bestowed more contrite tears than from it issued forced drops of blood. 500 poor I have in yearly pay, who twice a day their withered hands hold up toward heaven to pardon blood. And I've built 2 chantries where the sad and solemn priest sings still for Richard's soul. More will I do. Though all that I can do is nothing worth, since then my penitence comes after all, imploring pardon.
My liege,
I, my uncle Exeter's voice, I know thy errand, I will go with thee. The day, my friends, and all things stay for me.
And so our scene must to the battle fly, where oh for pity we shall much disgrace, with 4 or 5 most vile and ragged foils, right ill disposed in brawl ridiculous, the name of Agincourt. Yet sit and see, minding true things by what their mockeries be.
The sun doth gild our armor. Up, my lords!
Montez à cheval! My horse varlet, lucky, ha!
Oh, brave spirits!
Via les yeux à terre!
Puis, les feux.
See you, cousin Oleon. Now, my high lord constable.
Hardcore steeds for present service, nay.
Mounts them and make incision in their hides, that their hot blood may spin in English eyes, and doubts them with a superfluous courage.
What, will you have them weep out his blood? How shall we then behold their natural tears? The English are in battle, you French peers!
To horse, yon gallant princes, straight to horse. Do but behold yon poor and starved band, and our fair show shall suck away their souls, leaving them but shells and husks of men. There is not work enough for all our hands, scarce blood enough in all their sickly veins to give each naked turtle axe a stain, that French gallants should today draw out and sheathe again for lack of sport. Do but let us blow on them, and vapor of our valor shall o'erturn them. Oh, what's to say? A very little let us do, and all is done. Therefore, the trumpet sound, the target so not, the note to mount, for our approach to so much dares a field, that the English shall crouch down in fear and yield. They have said their prayers, they stand for death.
Shall we send them dinners in fresh suits, and gives their fasting horses provender, and then fight with them?
Go to the field! Come away! The sun is high, and we must wear the day!
Yeah!
Where is the king?
The king himself is rode to view their battle, of fighting men that have full 70,000.
'Tis 5-1. Besides, they are all fresh.
God's arms strike with us. 'Tis a fearful odds. God be with you, princes all. If we no more meet till we meet in heaven, then joyfully, my noble Lord of Bedford, my dear Lord Gloucester, and my good Lord Exeter, my kind kinsmen, warriors all, adieu.
Farewell, good Salisbury, and good luck go with thee. And yet I do thee wrong to mind thee of it, for thou art framed of the firm truth of valor.
Fight valiantly today.
Oh, that we now had here but 1/10,000 of those men in England who do no work today.
What's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland. No, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are enough to do our country loss. And if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honour. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. By Jove, I am not covetous for gold, nor care I who doth feed upon my cost. It yearns me not if men my garments wear. Such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honour, I am the most offending soul alive. No, faith, my cause, wish not a man from England. God's peace, I would not lose so great an honour as one man more methinks would share from me. For the best hope I have, oh, do not wish one more. Rather, proclaim in Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for Conway put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand a tiptoe when this day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall see this day and live old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbours and say, tomorrow is Saint Crispian. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot, but he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Bedford, Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury, Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian shall ne'er go by, from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed. They were not here, and hold their manhood's sheep, whilst any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispian's day. Yeah!
Sovereign Lord, bestow yourself with speed. The French are bravely in their battle set, and will with all expedience charge on us.
All things are ready if our minds be so.
Perish the man whose mind is backwards now.
Thou dost not wish more help from England's cause.
God's will, my liege, if you and I alone without more help could fight this royal battle.
You know your places. God be with you all.
Once more I come to know of thee, King Ahri. If for thy ransom thou wilt now compound before thy most assured overthrow. For certainly thou art so near the gulf, thou needs be a glutton. Besides, in mercy, the constable desires these that thou will mind thy followers' repentance, that their souls may make a peaceful and sweet retire from off these bloody fields where, wretches, their bodies must lie and fester.
Who hath sent thee now?
The Lord Grand Prix.
I pray thee bear my former answer back. Bid them achieve me and then sell my bones. Why should they mock poor fellows thus? The man that once did sell the lion's skin while the beast lived was killed with hunting him. And many of our bodies shall no doubt find native graves, upon the which I trust shall witness living brass of this day's work. And those that leave their valiant bones in France, dying like men, though buried in your dunghills, they shall be famed. For there the sun shall greet them, and draw their honours reeking up to heaven, leaving their earthly parts to choke your clime. The smell whereof shall breed a plague in France. Let me speak proudly. Tell the constable we are but warriors for the working day. Our gayness and the guilt are all besmirched with rainy marching in the painful field. But by the mass, our hearts are in the trim. And my poor soldiers tell me yet ere night they'll be in fresher robes. Or they will pluck the gay new coats or the French soldiers' heads and turn them out of service. If they do this as if God please, they shall. My ransom then will soon be levied. Herald, save thou thy labour. Come thou no more for ransom, gentle herald. They shall have none, I swear, but these my joints.
I shall, King Ari, and so fare thee well. Thou shalt never hear from Harold any more.
I fear thou wilt once more come again for a ransom.
My lord, most humbly on my knee I beg the leading of the wayward.
Take it, brave York. Now, soldiers, march away, and how thou pleasest God, dispose the day.
What I call me I, Custer my. Art thou a gentleman? Discuss.
Oh, Signor Dew.
Oh, Signor Dew should be a gentleman. Prepend my words, oh Signor Dew and Mark.
Oh, prenez miséricorde, ayez pitié de moi.
Moi shall not serve the turn. I would have 40 moi, or I'll fetch the rim out of thy throat in drops of crimson blood.
Oh, pardonnez-moi.
Sayest thou me so? Is that a ton of moi? Come hither, boy. Ask me, this slave, in French, what is his name?
Écoutez, comment êtes-vous appelé?
Monsieur le Feu.
He says his name is Master Fur.
Master Fur? Oh, fur him and fur him and ferret him. Discuss the sign in French unto him.
I do not know the French for fur and ferret and fur.
Bid him prepare, for I'll cut his throat.
Quittez, monsieur.
Il me commande à vous dire que vous faites vous plaît, car ces soldats ici est disposé to à cette heure de couper votre gorge.
Oui, coupe ma gorge, pas ma foy. Unless thou give me crowns, peasant, brave crowns, or mangled shalt thou be by this my sword.
Oh, je vous supplie, par les mains de Dieu, mais pardonnez. Je suis légitime de bonne maison. Gardez ma vie et je vous donnerai tout sans écoute.
What are his words?
He prays you to save his life, and that he is a gentleman of a good house. And for his ransom, he will give you 200 crowns.
Tell him my fury shall abate, and I the crowns will take.
Petit monsieur, qui dit-il?
En cours qui est contre changement de pardonner à tout prisonnier. Néanmoins, pour les écus que vous lui avez promis, il est content à vous donner la liberté et le franchissement.
I will some mercy show. Follow me.
Suivez-vous le grand capitaine. I did never know so full a voice issue from so empty a vessel. But the saying is true, the empty vessel makes the greatest sound. Even Bardolph had 10 times more valor than this roaring devil, and they are both hanged. And so would this be if he does steal anything adventurously. I must stay with the lackeys with the luggage of our camp. The French may have a good prey of us, if you knew of it, for there is nothing to guard it but boys.
Oh, diable!
Oh, Seigneur, les gens les coteaux, tous les coteaux.
Morte ma vie! All is confounded all. Reproach and everlasting shame sits mocking in our plumes. O merhante fortune, do not run away!
Why, all of our ranks are broke!
Oh, perdurable shame. Let us stab ourselves. Are not these the wretches that we played at dice for?
Is this the king we sent you for his ransom?
Shame and eternal shame, nothing but shame. Let us die, in once more, back again. And he that will not follow Bourbon now, let him go in with his cap in hand, and like a base pander holds his chamber door, whilst by slave no gentleness and my dog his fairest daughter is contaminate.
Disorders that have spoiled us, friend us now. Let us go on heaps and offer up our lives.
We are enough yet living in the field to smother up the English in our throngs, if any order might be sought upon.
The devil take order now, I'll to the throne. Let life be short, else shame will be too long.
Well have we done thrice, rallying countrymen, when all's not done, yet keep the French the field.
The Duke of York commends him to your majesty.
Live see, good uncle, thrice within this hour I saw him down, thrice up again and fighting. From helmet to the spur, all blood he was.
In which way brave soldier doth he lie? Lauding the plain, and by his bloody side, the noble Earl of Suffolk also lies. Suffolk first died, and York our haggled over. Comes to him, which in gore he laid and steeped, takes him by the beard, and kisses the gashes that did bloodily yawn upon his face, and cries aloud, "Tarry, my cousin Suffolk! My soul shall thine keep company to heaven. Tarry, sweet soul, for mine. Then in fly abreast in this glorious and well-foughten field we kept together in our chivalry." Upon these words I came and chid him up. He smiled me in the face, wrought me his hand, and with a feeble grip says, "Dear my lord, commend my service to my sovereign." So did he turn, and over Suffolk's neck he threw his wounded arms, and kissed his lips, and so espoused to death, with blood he sealed, a testament of noble ending love. The pretty and sweet manner of it forced the waters from mine eyes that I would have stopped. But I had not so much man in me, and all my mother came into mine eyes and gave me up to tears.
I blame you not, for I must here perforce compound with my full eyes, or they will issue too.
But hark, one new alarm is the same. The French have reinforced their scattered men. Then every soldier kill his prisoners. Give the word through.
Kill the boys and the luggage. 'Tis expressly against the law of arms. 'Tis an arrant piece of knavery as can be offered. In your own conscience now, is it not?
'Tis certain there's not a boy left alive, and the cowardly rascals that run from the barrow have done this slaughter. Besides, they have burned and carried away all that was in the king's tent. Wherefore the king most worthily caused every soldier to cut his prisoner's throat. Ho to the gallant king!
Aye, he was born at Monmouth. I tell you, what call you the town where Alexander the Big was born?
Alexander the Great.
Why, it's not big, great. The big, the great, the huge, the mighty, the magnanimous, all one reckoning, save the phrases a little variation.
I think Alexander the Great was born at Macedon. His father was called Philip of Macedon, as I take it.
I think it is in Macedon where Alexander is born. I tell you what, Captain Gower, if you look in the maps of the world, I warrant you shall find that in the comparisons between Macedon and Monmouth, that the situations look you is both alike. There is a river in Macedon, and there is more a river in Monmouth. It is called Wyatt Monmouth, but it is out of my brains what is the name of the other river. But 'tis no matter, 'tis all one, 'tis as like as to my fingers is to my fingers. And there is salmons in them both. If you mark Alexander's life well, Harry of Monmouth's life comes after it different well, for there is figures in all things. Alexander, God knows, and you know, in his rages and his furies and his wraths and his chollers and his moods and his displeasures, and also being a little intoxicated in the plains, did in his ales and his cups kill his best friend Cletus.
Our king is not like that. He never killed any of his friends.
It is not well done, mark you now, to take the tale out of my mouth, ere it is finished. I speak but in the figures and comparisons of it. As did Alexander kill his best friend Cletus, being in his ales and his cups, so did Harry of Monmouth in his right wits and good judgment turn away that great fat knight with the great belly doublet. He was full of all knocks and mocks and knaveries. I have forgot the name.
Sir John Falstaff.
Aye, that is he. I tell you, there is good men born at Monmouth.
Here comes his majesty.
I was not angry since I came to France until this instant. Ride down to the horsemen on yon hill. If they will fight with us, bid them come down, avoid the field. They do offend our sight. Besides, we'll cut the throats of those we have, and not a man of them that we shall take shall taste our mercy. Go and tell them so.
Here comes the herald of the French, my liege.
His eyes are humbler than they used to be.
How now? What means this herald? Knowest thou not that I find these bones of mine for ransom? Comest thou again for a ransom?
No, great king. I come to thee for charitable license, that we may wander o'er this bloody field, to book our dead and then to bury them, to sort our nobles from our common men. For many of our princes, woe the while, lie drowned and soaked in mercenary blood. So do many of our vulgar drench their peasant limbs in the blood of princes, and the wounded steeds lie fetlock deep in gore, and with wild rage irk out their armored heels at their masters, killing them twice. Oh, give us leave, great king, to view the field in safety and dispose of their dead bodies.
I tell thee truly, herald, I know not if the day be ours or no.
The day is yours.
Praised be God, and not our strength for it. What is this castle called that stands hard by?
They call it Agincourt.
Then call we this the field of Agincourt, fought on the day of Crispin Crispianus.
Your grandfather, of famous memory, and please your majesty, the great uncle Edward the Black Prince of Wales, as I have read in the chronicles, did fight a most brave battle here in France.
They did, Llewellyn.
And if your majesty be remembered, the Welshmen did good service in a garden where leeks did grow, wearing leeks of the Monmouth caps, which your majesty knows to this hour is the most honorable badge of the service. And I do believe that your majesty takes no scorn to wear the leek upon St. David's Day.
I wear it for a memorable honor, for I am Welsh, you know, good countrymen.
Oh, the what and why cannot wash your Welsh blood out of your body. I can tell you that. May God bless it and preserve it as long as it pleases your grace and your majesty too.
Thanks.
Good, my countrymen.
I am your majesty's countryman, and I care not who know it. I will confess it to all the world. I need not be ashamed of your majesty. God be praised, as long as your majesty is an honest man.
God keep me so. Our herald, go with him. Bring me just notice of the numbers dead on both our parts. What prisoners of good sort are taken, uncle?
Charles, Duke of Orleans, nephew to the king, John, Duke of Bourbon, Lord Boucicaut, of other lords and barons, knights and squires, a full 1,500 besides common men.
Here's the numbers of the slaughtered French.
This note doth tell me of 10,000 French in the field lie slain, of princes in this number and nobles bearing banners there lie dead 126. Added to these of knights and squires and gallant gentlemen 8,400. The names of those their nobles that lie dead: Charles de la Breth, High Constable of France; Jacques of Chatillon, Admiral of France; the Master of the Crossbows, Lord Rempures; and Edward, Duke of Bar; of lusty earls, Grand Pré and Rossy; Falconbridge and Foix; Beaumont and Marle; Vaudemont and Lestrade. Here was a royal fellowship of death. Where is the number of our English dead? Edward, the Duke of York; the Earl of Suffolk; Sir Richard Ketley, Davy Gam, Esquire. None else of name, and of all other men but 25. O God, thy arm was here, and not to us, but to thy arm alone ascribe we all. When, without stratagem, but in plain shock and even play of battle was ever known, so great and little loss on one part and on the other. Take it, God, for it is none but thine.
'Tis wonderful.
Come, go we in procession to the village, and be its death, proclaim it through our host to boast of this, or take that praise from God which is his only.
Is it not lawful and please your majesty to tell how many is killed?
Yes, Captain, but with this acknowledgement that God fought for us.
Yes, in my conscience he did us great good.
Do we all holy rites? Let there be sung non nobis and te deum, the dead with charity enclosed in clay, and then to Calais, and to England then, who had ne'er from France arrived more happy men.
Vouchsafe to those that have not yet read the story, that I may prompt them. And as such as have, I humbly pray them to admit the excuse of time,
of numbers,
and due course of things,
which cannot, in their huge and proper life, be here presented.
Now we bear the king toward Calais.
Grant him
there seen.
Heave him away upon your winged thoughts athwart the sea.
Behold the English beach.
So let him land, and solemnly see him set on to London,
where that his lords desire him to have borne his bruised helmet
and his bended sword.
Before him through the city.
He forbids it.
Being free from vainness and self-glorious pride.
Giving full trophy, signal, and ostent.
Quite from himself.
To God.
But now behold in the quick forge and working house of thought, how London doth pour out her citizens.
The mayor and all his brethren in best sort, like to the senators of the antique Rome, with the plebeians swarming at their heels, go forth and fetch their conquering Caesar in.
Now in London place him,
And omit all occurrences whatever chanced.
till Harry's back return again to France.
there must we bring him.
And myself have played the interim, by remembering you 'tis past.
Then brook abridgment, and your eyes advance, after your thoughts, straight back again to France.
Nay, that's right. But why were your leak today? St. David's Day is past.
There is occasions and causes, why and wherefore and all things. I will tell you as my friend Captain Gower, that rascally, scald, beggarly, lousy, bragging knave pistol, who you and yourself and all the world know to be a fellow, look you, of no merit, comes to me yesterday and brings me salt and bread and bid me eat my leek. It was in a place where I could breed no contention with him, but I would be so bold as to wear it in my cap till I see him once again. Then I will tell him a little piece of my desires.
Why, here he comes, swelling like a turkey cock.
'Tis no matter for his swellings nor his turkey cocks. God bless you, ancient pistol, you scurvy, lousy knave. God bless you.
Ha! Art thou bedlam? Dost thou thirst? By Trojan, to have me fold up Piper's fatal web? Oh, hence, I am qualmish at the smell of leek.
I beseech you heartily, scurvy, lousy knave, at my desires and my requests and my petitions to eat, look you, this leek. Ha! Because you do not love it, nor your affections or your appetites does not agree with it, I would desire you to eat it.
Not for Cadwallader and all his goats.
There is one goat for you. Will you be so good, scald knave, as to eat it?
By Trojan, thou shalt die.
You say very true, scald knave. When God's will it is, I would desire you to live in the meantime and eat your victual. Come, there is sauce for it. I pray, fall to. If you can mock a leek, you can eat a leek.
Now, Captain, you have astonished him.
I pray, I will make him eat some part of my leek. I will beat his pate for 4 days. Bite, I pray you. It is good for the green wound in your bloody coxcomb.
Oh, must I buy?
Yes, certainly. And out of doubt and question too, and ambiguities.
By this leek, I will most honorably revenge. I swear.
Eat, I pray you. Will you have more sauce to your leek? There is not enough sauce. There is not enough leek to swear by.
Quiet thy cudgel. Thou must see I eat.
Much good to you, scald knave. Heartily. Nay, throw none of it away. The skin is good for your broken coxcomb.
Good.
Aye, leeks is good. Here is a drug to heal your pain.
Me? And thou?
Yes, verily, and in truth you shall take it. Or I have another leek in my pocket which you shall eat.
Oh, take one. In earnest of revenge.
If I owe you anything, I will pay you in cudgels. God you and keep you, and here your pate.
All hell will stir for this.
Go. You are a counterfeit, cowardly knave. Will you mock at an ancient tradition and dare not to vouch in your deeds any of your words? I have seen you gleeking and galling at this gentleman twice or thrice. Henceforth, let your Welsh correction teach you a good English condition. Fare you well.
Dost fortune play, thou wife, with me now? News have I that my Nell is dead, and there my rendezvous is quite cut off. Old do I wax, and from my weary limbs honour is cudgelled. Oh. Well, bored I'll turn and something learn to cut purse of quick hand. To England will I steal, and there I'll steal. Patches will I get onto these cudgel scars, and swear I got them in the Gallia wars.
Peace to this meeting wherefore we are met, unto our brother France, and to our sister health and fair time of day. Joy and good wishes to our most fair and princely cousin Catherine, and as a branch and member of this royalty, by whom this great assembly is contrived, we do salute you, Duke of Burgundy, and princes French and peers. Health to you all.
Right joyous are we to behold your face, most worthy brother of England. Fairly met. So are you, princes English, every one.
So I be busy as you, brother Ireland, of this good day and of this gracious meeting, as we are now glad to behold your eyes which hitherto have borne in them against the French, whom at them in their bent, the fatal balls of murdering basilisks, the venom of such looks, we fairly hope, have lost their quality, and that this day shall change our griefs and quarrels into love.
To cry amen to that, thus we appear.
You English princes all, I do salute you.
Great kings of France and England, that I have labored with all my wits, my pains and strong endeavors to bring your most imperial majesties unto this bar and royal interview. Your mightiness on both parts best can witness. Since then my office hath so far prevailed, let it not disgrace me what rope or what impediment there is, while that the naked poor and mangled peace, dearness of arts, plenties, and joyful births, should in this best garden of the world, our foot of France, put up her lovely visage.
If, Duke of Burgundy, you would the peace which you have cited, you must buy that peace with full accord to all our just demands.
The king hath heard them, to which there is no answer made.
Well, then the peace which you before so urged lies in his answer.
I have but with a cursory eye overglanced the articles. Please us your grace to appoint some in our company presently, to sit with us once more, with better heed to resurvey them.
Brother, we shall. Go, Uncle Exeter. Go with the king and take with you free power to ratify, augment, or alter as your wisdom's best shall see advantageable for our dignity. Anything in or out of our demands, and we'll consign thereto. Will you, fair sister, go with the princes or stay here with us?
Our graces, brother, I will go with them. I believe a woman's voice may do some good when articles too nicely urged be stood on.
Yet leave our cousin Catherine here with us. She is our capital demand comprised within the forerank of our articles.
She has good leave.
Fair Catherine, and most fair, Will you vouchsafe to teach a soldier terms such as will enter at a lady's ear and plead his love suit to her gentle heart?
Your Majesty shall look at me. I cannot speak England.
Oh, fair Catherine, if you will love me soundly with your French heart, I will be glad to hear you confess it brokenly with your English tongue. Do you like me, Kate?
Pardonnez-moi, I cannot tell what is like me.
An angel is like you, Kate, and you are like an angel.
Qui dit-il? Que je suis semblable à les anges?
Oui, ça votre grâce, ainsi dit-il.
I said so, dear Catherine, and I must not blush to affirm it.
Oh bon Dieu, les langues des hommes sont pleines de tromperies.
What says she, fair one? That the tongues of men are full of deceits.
Oui, that the tongues of demands is be full of deceits. That is the princess.
The princess is the better Englishwoman. If faith, Kate, my wooing is fit for thy understanding, I am glad thou canst speak no better English, for if thou couldst, thou wouldst find me such a plain king, that thou wouldst think I had sold my farm to buy my crown. I know no ways to mince it in love, but directly to say I love you. And if you urge me farther than to say do you in faith, I wear out my suit. Give me your answer, if faith do, and so clap hands in a bargain. How say you, lady?
So votre honneur, me understand well.
Mary, if you would put me to verses or to dance for your sake, Kate, why you undid me. If I could win a lady at leapfrog, or by vaulting into my saddle with my armor on my back, under the correction of bragging be it spoken, I should quickly leap into a wife. I speak to thee, plain soldier. If thou canst love me for this, take me. If not, to say that I shall die is true, but for thy love, no. Oh, yes, I love thee too. And while thou livest, take a fellow of plain and uncoined constancy. A good leg will fall, a straight back will stoop, a black beard will turn white, a curled pate will grow bald, a fair face will wither, a full eye will wax hollow, but a good heart, Kate, is the sun and the moon, or rather the sun and not the moon, for it shines bright and never changes, but keeps his course truly. If thou would have such a one, take me. And take me, take a soldier, take a king. And what sayest thou then to my love?
Is it possible that I should love the enemy of France?
No, it is not possible you should love the enemy of France, Kate. But in loving me, you should love the friend of France. For I love France so well that I will not part with a village of it. I will have it all mine. And, Kate, when France is mine and I am yours, then yours is France. And you are mine.
I cannot tell what is that.
No, Kate? I will tell thee in French, which I'm sure will hang about my tongue like a newly married wife about her husband's neck, hardly to be shook off. J'ai, crois sous la possession de France, et quand vous avez la possession de moi, let me see what then Saint Denis be my speed. Donc, votre est France, vous êtes mienne. It is as easy for me to conquer the kingdom as to speak so much more French. I shall never move thee in French, Kate, unless it be to laugh at me.
C'est votre honneur le français que vous parlez est le meilleur que l'anglais que je parle.
No, faith is not, Kate, but thy speaking of my tongue and I thine most truly falsely, must needs be granted to be much at one. But, Kate, dost thou understand thus much English? Canst thou love me?
I cannot tell.
Can any of your neighbours tell, Kate? I will ask them. Come, I know thou lovest me, and at night when you come into your closet, you'll question this gentlewoman about me, and I know you will to her dispraise those parts in me that you love with your heart. Shall not thou and I, between St. Denis and St. George, compound a boy, half French, half English, that shall go to Constantinople and take the Turk by the beard, shall we not? What sayest thou, my fair fleur-de-lis?
I do not know that.
No, 'tis hereafter to know, but now to promise. How answer you, la plus belle Catherine du monde, mon très cher divine déesse?
Your Majesty are first French enough to deceive the most sage demoiselle that is in France.
Now fie upon my false French. By mine honour in true English I love thee, Kate. By which honour I dare not swear thou lovest me, although my blood begins to flatter me that thou dost, notwithstanding the poor and untempering effect of my visage. Now beshrew my father's ambition. He was thinking of civil wars when he got me, therefore was I created with a stubborn outside, with an aspect of iron. Then when I come to woo ladies, I fright them. But in faith, Kate, the elder I wax, the better I shall appear. And therefore tell me, most fair Catherine, wilt thou have me? Take me by the hand, and say, Harry of England, I am thine, which word thou shalt no sooner bless mine ear withal, but I will tell thee aloud, England is thine, Ireland is thine, France is thine, and Henry Plantagenet is thine. Come, your answer in broken music, for thy voice is music, and thy English broken. Therefore, Queen of all, Catherine, break thy mind to me in broken English. Will you have me?
That is as it shall please the Roy mon père.
Nay, it shall please him well, Kate, it shall please him, Kate.
Then it shall also content me.
Upon that, I kiss your hand and I call you my queen.
Laissez, monseigneur, laissez. Ma foi, je ne vous pas que vous embrassez votre grandeur en besoin le mandune. Notre seigneur indigne, serviteur. Excusez-moi, je vous supplie, mon très puissant seigneur.
Then I will kiss your lips, Kate.
Les dames demoiselles pour être besoin de nous, elle n'est pas la coutume de France.
Madam, my interpreter, what says she?
That it is not the fashion for the ladies of France. I cannot tell what is by sir en English.
Oh, to kiss.
Your Majesty entends better que moi.
Oh, Kate, nice customs, courtesy to great kings. Dear Kate, you and I cannot be confined within the weak list of a country's fashion. We are the makers of manners, Kate, and the liberty that follows our places stops the mouth of all fine faults, as I will do yours in upholding the nice fashion of your country and denying me a kiss. Ah, here comes your father.
God save your Majesty, my royal cousin, teach your princess English.
We would have her learn, my fair cousin, how perfectly I love her, and that is good English.
Is she not apt?
Our tongue is rough, cause, and my condition is not smooth, so that I cannot so conjure up the spirit and love in her that he will appear in his true likeness.
We have consented to all terms of reason.
Is it so, my lords of England?
The king hath granted every article, his daughter first, and in sequel all others according to their firm proposed natures.
Only he hath not yet subscribed this. Why your Majesty demands that the King of France, having any occasion to write on the matter of grant, shall name your Highness with this edition in French. Notre très servi Henri Howard d'Angleterre, héritier de France.
Nor have this, brother, so denied, but your request shall make me let it pass.
I pray you then, in love and dear alliance, let that one article rank with the rest, and thereupon give me your daughter.
Take her, fair son, and from her blood raise issue to me that the contending kingdoms of England and France, whose very shores look pale with envy of each other's happiness, may cease their hatred, and may this dear conjunction plant neighborhood and Christian-like accord within their sweet bosoms, that never war advanced his bleeding sword twixt England and fair France.
Amen. Now welcome, Kate, and bear me witness all, that here I take her as my sovereign queen.
God, the best maker of all marriages, combine your arts into one, your realms into one, as man and wife, being two, are one in love. So be there twixt your kingdoms such a spousal that never may ill office or fell jealousy, which troubles oft the bed of blessed marriage, thrust in between the paction of these kingdoms, to make divorce of their incorporate league, that English may as French Englishmen, receive each other. God speaks this. Amen.
Amen. Prepare we for our marriage, on which day my lord of Burgundy will take her oath, and all the peers for surety of our leagues. Then shall I swear to Kate and you to me, and may our oaths well kept and prosperous be.
Thus far, with rough and all unable pen, our bending author hath pursued the story.
In little room confining mighty men, mangling by starts the full course of their glory.
Small time, but in that small most greatly lived this star of England.
Fortune made his sword,
By which the world's best garden he achieved.
And of it left his son imperial lord.
Almighty God, he keep our King, his people and all his well-willing.
you everyone for coming.
Thank you for coming. You made it. You're still here, I think. I don't know. Maybe some people in the back left. I don't know. Thank you. I have to thank some people right off the bat. And the first person I have to thank is Susan Newman. No, Sue. I don't have to thank Susan Newman. I do have to thank Susan Newman. Right here. Stand up. Come on. She did all the costumes. We're crazy together. It's great. And I also want to thank all of our volunteers, the Gulliver Boys and the Newman family, and Abby Markle, and just, I don't know, random people we were grabbing off the streets. My husband and all the moms, everyone worked so hard, and I just want to just thank everybody. It's been so great. Thank you for coming and supporting this. So thank you so much.
And of course, we have to thank you.
Okay.
Come on up.
Thank you. I'm saying thank you. Thank you to me.
And of course, we have to give the uttermost thanks to our director, Mrs. Bickley, who has laid the foundation for all of this, and over the years have directed us and helped us grow. I remember doing our first production in Midsummer's Night's Dream, and as a little 14-year-old, just like waiting backstage, afraid to see whether or not I could successfully deliver my grand total of 3 lines. and then now being able to see how much I've grown and how all of that we've been able to do under your tutelage, and so I'm sure like everyone else up here would be able to say the same about that. And so, as a little gift of our gratitude, here it is.
Thank you.